gearing and doing everything he can to come up with a reasonable explanation for why God lifted us up and took us out of here. Everybody ain't going. This is Raptor News. Look to the sky. Our redemption draws nigh. The government is gearing and doing everything it can to come up with a reasonable explanation for why God lifted us up and took us out of here. Everybody ain't going. And so today we're going to talk about the process of God taking his elect out and his people out, which are two different things, two different processes. And so basically, right now, I don't care whether you believe the truth or you don't believe the truth. I'm speaking the truth. We are on the cold side of planet hell right now. And it's about to freeze over in different places and stuff like that. And God said, before he takes his people out, he is going to flex his arm. What did that mean? It means that he is going to cause some major pain and damage on these nations where they're going to know that it is him who did it. And then they are going to release his people. But he himself is going to deliver a small group of elect. Let's get into it. Isaiah 49:22. Thus says the Lord God, behold, I will lift up my hand to the Gentiles. That means some damage is finna happen. And set up my standard to the people. And the people are the nations. And they shall bring thy sons in their arms, and thy daughters shall be carried upon their shoulders. But before they bring our people to Mount Zion, the promised land, God is going to handle their asses. So this is what they are gearing up for. This is why they're telling you to stay inside, because they don't want you to see our rising.
I'm here today to share with you guys a vision that I've had. It actually inspired me to make my first YouTube video due to the fact that I'm a modern day oracle. I always have tons of visions given to me about the fact that there's lots of dark matter out there in the universe, and from the center of darkness is where life was created. So let me get into my video right quick and share my vision with you guys, and I'll make it as speedy as possible. As I said, this is my first video, and I want to share with you guys this vision that the Lord has given to me. Like I said, I'll skip to the end of it, so let me just get to it. Alright, at the end of this vision, it was about my son. His name is Storm. It stands for Strong, Talented, Organized, Revolutionary Males, and I'm originally from Chicago. My son is there now, and this is where this dream actually took place. I was in Chicago with family members. We were throwing a birthday party, and my mother, I guess she said something wrong with my son. He stormed out the door, pretty upset, and he's 12 right now. So when I went to go get him and retrieve him to make him come back home, my stepfather was going after him with me, and I'm like, no, don't, because he's going to hide. So let me go retrieve my own son. So he went back in the house, and I saw my son, and he ran to my arms, and I remember I just embraced him so tightly. I just grabbed him, and the police just rode up on us, and I didn't know why, but anyway, they were telling me that they were going to arrest my son. He's only 12 years old, so immediately I held on to him tight, and I said, no, what did he do? And this cop, it was two cops, they were both Europeans, a male and a female, and they explained to me that my son had public disturbances. They said the first time this public disturbance was on a playground or something. He was on the swing, and I guess he got into a little scuffle with one of the children there, and that was his first police activity. And I was like, what, you guys have cameras now at the playground to know exactly who did what to whom? And so he was like, okay, but another day, ma'am, he was walking down the street and he said something to somebody. And my son was like, Mom, it was this guy. He was giving me a mean look. And I just asked him, what are you looking at? And the police just automatically had told me this is my second warning. And he was looking at my eyes, and I was still holding him very tightly. And then the third encounter was just like when I was telling about the dream, my mom had made him upset, so he ran out the house. And I guess when he ran out the house, it was an older male or something out there. And he probably had said something to the male. I don't really remember because it was a dream. And I wasn't really there. I just remember my son looking up at me and said, "Mom, this guy has said something to me," and I was just upset. So I just told him to leave me alone. Don't look at me like that. And the police rode up on me and asked me my name. And they said this is my third violation. And they told me they was going to arrest me. So he said he was running home, and I grabbed him. And I said, "No, y'all not taking my baby. He's only 12 years old. You can't do this." And so after that point, police was like, "All right, well, if we don't arrest him, we're going to give you a ticket." I said, "Fine, just give me the ticket then for my son." So the police gave me the ticket, and when he gave it to me, he was going over it, like from start to bottom of the ticket. So first he explained to me, he was like, "All right, well, since this is third citation and we're not going to arrest him, we're going to charge you guys $600. Let me be correct. It was 6 and 2 zeros. He was like, "I'm going to charge you guys $600, and it's to be paid in 3 days. And I said, "We don't have $600 to pay you within 3 days. And he was like, "Well," and then he went to the bottom of the ticket, and it said if the fine wasn't paid within 3 days, that my 12-year-old son was going to be incarcerated for the year, and that on the bottom of the ticket, before I made to the bottom of it to look at it, the cop was he was, like I said, the white cop was like kind of racist. He was just saying, "Oh, okay, well, if you get, I know how y'all niggers are, y'all is 3 days from now is the first of the month, so y'all should be able to pay the money with y'all first of the month check." And at the bottom of the ticket, the pyramid with the all-seeing eye on the bottom. And I looked at it, that's when he actually handed it to me, because when he was explaining it to me, he had it in his hand. And I said, "How you gonna give me a ticket with a satanic pyramid on it and an all-seeing eye?" I said, "We ain't accepting a satanic ticket." He looked at me and he started laughing. He said, "Well, if your son don't pay it or you don't pay it in 3 days, your son will be eating lunch with us." So I'm still holding my son very tightly. And I had told him, I said, "You know what, I'm going to get a lawyer. You're going to have to contact one of my lawyers. I'm just going to have them to contact you guys because something's up. I'm not a Satanist, and I'm not releasing my son to you guys, nor am I paying this." And he said, "Well, I'm just going to arrest your son right now." And I said, "No, you said you gave us 3 days, and I already got the ticket." I said, "So I'm going to still have my lawyer to contact you." And he started to approach us like he was going to snatch my son out of my arms, and the woman, she was basically at my side. So I told my son to run towards the house, and I ran with him. Now, when we ran to the house, we went through the back door, and the cop was outside of the door because he chased us, both of them, the male and female officer. And basically, he had just told me, "Well, if you don't give us your son right now, we're going to use brutal force by any means necessary to retrieve your son. And if you get away, too." I said, "Brutal force? My son is only 12. He did not commit a crime." He said public disturbance was his crime. And I said, "But now, y'all not locking him up in no satanic jail because you handed me a satanic ticket. You're not taking my son." And then I said, "This is going to be an uproar about this." And the cop had made the suggestion. I said, "It's too many black people on the street right now. If you snatch my 12-year-old son out of this house, I will go tell these people on the block, and it will be an uprising." And then the cop had made some smart gesture. So basically, I slammed the door on him. And he was banging on my door. Basically, he was going to break it in. So I ran through the front of my house. And I started going to the block where all the people was. It was a summer day outside. I don't know if it was 2014, but it seemed like it was this year. And I told them, I said, "Hey, these cops handed me a satanic ticket." And I showed them, I said, "They're going to hurt me and my children. They're going to use brute force enemy necessary. He's only 12 years old. You guys, please help me now." It was a lot of gang members on the block, you little young black boys. And it was older people. So this woman came up to me and said, "What's going on? What's going on?" I explained to her again, like, help me, please. They're at the back door now kicking it in. My kids are inside the house. They're trying to snatch my son out the house. So the boys, it was a group of them, they ran over to the back of the house with us and the police. And as the police officer saw the group of guys running up on him, he said this. He was like, "Oh my God, we have started the holy war. The race war has started here in America. He was like this on his walkie-talkie, like, wait, back up. The holy war has started here in America, the racial war. And he proceeded to shoot one of the little children that was like between the ages of 12 and 15 in the head, who ran up. And yes, he was a gangbanger, but these are still our young boys. He shot him in the head, and he proceeded to go after another one. And long story short, we killed those 2 cops. Now, this made me know it was a vision because he mentioned the holy war and the race war. And we shot the 2, and he shot at us. And then we, like I said, we killed the 2 white cops. Now, after we did this, like I said, my son was inside the house. So, as we were coming from the back of the house, now the group of us to the front, my son was outside. Now, I was his pastor. He was an older guy. He was a black male. He put the Bible up to my son's chest, and he was saying, "Come, the children of Israel. This is our Exodus." And he kept saying, "This is our Exodus." And I heard this music. It sounds so beautiful. And this guy, when he was speaking and preaching, like I said, he took my son, put the Bible on his chest. I heard this music start to play. And I had to walk through a large crowd to get to the middle where my son was, where the pastor had the Bible on his chest. And basically he was saying, like I said, "Children of Israel, come. This is our Exodus. God is with us. The war has started here in America." And it was a black guy. He was really, really, really dark, like way darker than I am. He said, the pastor was like, he said, "Don't be ashamed of your blackness. You are Nubian. Rich as pure as the blood." And then he saw somebody else who was a little darker than me. He pointed to him. He said, You come from the land of kings. Us black people, don't be ashamed of who you are. The Lord is on our side." And we were walking in multitudes, like as we was walking up and preaching, like a block or 2. More and more black people just started flocking to us and following us. And like I said, this music was so beautiful that I retrieved my son from the pastor. I took his hand, and I was just jumping and laughing and singing. But like I said, with the music, it just seemed like my spirit was so free that I didn't care if I died. I didn't care what was to happen. I just knew this was the moment my soul's been waiting for. Our exodus out of America, out of Babylon. And the pastor was preaching like, "Come, this is our exodus out of Babylon." Like Moses when he delivered the children of Israel from Pharaoh. This is our time. We are now leaving America. And then my cell phone rang and woke me up out of my vision. I just wanted to share this with you guys. I know this was a vision given to me by God. I didn't see no other little children marching with us at that moment, like little babies, because I had little babies in the house, and they wasn't with us. Just oddly, my son wasn't the pastor with the Bible on his chest. And like, it was just a strong vision to me, dream, because...
This is Raptor News. Look to the sky. Our redemption draws nigh. Look to the sky. Our redemption draws nigh. Look to the sky. Our redemption draws nigh.